We're not talking about various forms of fear. Fear of darkness, fear of one's husband, wife, fear of society, fear of dying, fear of, we're not talking various forms of fear. It's like a tree that has got many, many branches, many flowers, many fruit. The flowers become the fruit. But we are talking about the very root of that tree, right? The root of it. Not your particular form of fear. You can trace your particular form to the root of it. So we are asking, are we concerned with our fears or with the whole fear? Right? With the whole tree, not just one branch of it. Because unless you understand how the tree lives, the water it requires, the depth of the soil and so on, merely trimming the branches won't do anything. Right? So we must go to the very root of fear. So what is the root of fear? Don't wait for me. I am not your leader. I am not your help. I am not your guru. Thank God. We are together as two brothers. And I mean it. The speaker means it. It's not just words. As two good friends who have known each other from the beginning of time, walking along the same path, with the same speed, looking at everything that is around you and in you. So together we'll go into it. Please, together. Otherwise it becomes just words. At the end of the talk, you'll say, oh, well, what am I to do with my fear? Fear is very complex. It's a tremendous reaction. If you're aware of it, it's a shock. Not only biologically or organically, but also a shock to the brain. The brain has a capacity, as one discovers, not from what the others say, it has capacity to remain, in spite of a shock, healthy. Certain glands, I don't know all about it, but the very shock invites its own protection. Right? You go into it for yourself, you will see. So fear is a shock. Momentarily, or it continues in different forms, different expressions, different ways. So we are going to the very, very, very root of it. To understand the very root of it, we must understand time. Right? Time as yesterday, time as today, time as tomorrow. I remember something I've done, of which I'm shy or nervous or apprehensive or fearful. I remember all that, and it continues to the future, right? I have been angry, jealous, envious. That's the past. I'm still envious, slightly modified because I'm fairly generous about things, but envy goes on, right? This whole process is time, isn't it? Right? You understand? Say yes. God say, no, don't say yes. You understand? That is, what do we consider time? Let's begin again. What do you consider is time? By the clock? Sunrise, sunset? Evening star, the full new moon, the full moon comes fortnight later? What is time to you? Time to learn a skill? Time to learn a language? Time to write a letter? Time to go to your house from here? All that is time as distance, right? I have to go from here to there. That's a distance covered by time, right? Right? So, time also is inward, psychological. I am this, I must become that. Becoming that is called evolution. Evolution means from the seed to the tree. And also, I am ignorant, but I will learn. I don't know, but I will know. Give me time to be free of violence. Right? You're following all this? Give me time. Give me a few days or a month or a year, I'll be free of it. So we live by time. Not only going to the office every day from 9 to 5, God forbid, but also time to become something. You understand all this? Right? Time. The movement of time. I have been afraid of you, and I remember that fear, and that fear is still there, and I will be afraid of you tomorrow. I hope not, but if I don't do something very drastic about it, I'll be afraid of you tomorrow. So we live by time, right? Be clear on it. Please, let's be clear on this. We live by time, which is I'm living, I will die. I postpone death as far away as possible, but I'm living and I'm going to do everything to avoid that. Though that is inevitable. Right? So we, psychologically as well as biologically, we live by time. Is time a factor of fear? Please inquire. Time, that is, I've told a lie, I don't want you to know, but you're very smart. You look at me and say, yes, you've told a lie. No, I'm not. I protect myself instantly. And because I'm afraid of you finding out that I'm a liar, or partly liar. So I'm afraid, right? For something I have done, which I don't like you to know, and I'm afraid of that. Which is what? Thought, isn't it? Right? I have done something which I remember, and that remembrance says, be careful, don't let him discover that you told a lie, because you've got a good reputation as an honest man, and protect yourself, right? So, thinking and time are together. There is no division between thought, thinking, and time. Are we clear on this matter? Please be clear on this matter, otherwise you get rather confused later. The causation of fear is time thought, the root of it. Right? And as to, wait, sir, we can ask question when there's question and answer meeting. I believe sometime next week, I believe. So are we clear on this thing, that time, that is the past, with all the things that one has done, and that thought, whether pleasant or unpleasant, especially it is unpleasant, I want to protect it or change it or impossible to change, therefore I say, by Jove, I'm frightened of it. Right? And which is thinking about it. So time and thought are the root of fear. This is an obvious fact, very simple verbal fact. But to go behind the word and see the truth of this time thought, then you will inevitably ask, how is thought to stop? Right? Natural question. No? If thought creates fear, which is so obvious, then how am I to stop thinking? You understand my question? Right? Tell me, how am I to stop thinking? Because I see the cause is thought. Because I've thought, I remember what I did, I'm frightened of it, I don't want you to find out, so it's thinking, right? Then I ask you, please help me to stop my thinking. I would be an ass to ask such a question, but I'm asking it. How am I to stop thinking? Is that possible? Go on, say, investigate. Don't let me go on. Thinking. Because we live by thinking. Everything we do is through thought. To write a letter, to learn a language, to go to your office, to do all the business, the whole process of thinking. We went into that carefully the other day. We won't waste time going to the cause, the beginning of thinking, how it comes, experience, knowledge, which is always limited, memory, and then thought. I'm just briefly repeating this. So, is it possible to stop thinking? Is it possible not to chatter all day long? Giving the brain a rest. Though it has its own rhythm, the blood going up to it, its own activity, its own, not the activity imposed by thought. You understand? There seems to be a lot of trains today. May I point out, may the speaker point out, that's a wrong question. who is it that stops thinking? You understand my question? It is still thought, isn't it? When I say, if I could only stop thinking, then I will have no fear. The very statement that I wish I could stop it. Who is that wishes to stop thought? It's still thought, isn't it? Because it wants something else. Right? So, what will you do? Do you understand my question? Any movement of thought to be other than what it is still thinking. Right? I am greedy, but I must not be greedy. It's still thinking. Thinking has put together all the paraphernalia, all that business that goes on in churches and all that, is put together by thought. Like this marquee or tent is put together carefully by thought. So thought is a very root of our existence, apparently. So we are asking a very serious question. Seeing what thought has done. Invented the most extraordinary thing, computer. The warships, the missiles, the atom bomb, the surgery, medicine, if you like medicine. And also the things it has made man do, go to the moon and so on. Thought is the very root of fear. Right? Do we see that? Not how to end thought. Do we see actually the thinking is the root of fear, which is done. Seeing. Not the words I am seeing, but actually see. When you have pain, severe pain, the pain is not different from you. You act instantly, right? So do you see as clearly as you see the clock, the speaker, and your friends beside you? See that thought is the causation of fear. Please don't ask, how am I to see? The moment you ask how, I'm ready, someone is willing to help you. Then you become their slave. But if you yourself see thought, time, are really the root of fear. Take time, take deliberation. It doesn't need decision, just the seeing. A scorpion is poisonous, a snake is poisonous. The very perception of it, you act. So one asks, why don't we see? Why don't we see one of the causes of war is nationalities? Right? One of the causes. Why don't we see that one may be called a Muslim and you may be called a Christian? Why do we fight over names or propaganda? Right? Do we see it or just memorize or think about it? You understand, sirs? that your consciousness is the rest of mankind. Mankind, like you and others, mankind goes through every form of difficulty, pain, travail, anxiety, loneliness, depression, sorrow, pleasure. Every human being goes through this. Not only the Swiss, not only the you, but every human being. All over the world, whether it be Russian, American, China, all the rest. So our consciousness, our being, is the entire humanity. Do you understand? This is so. How unwilling we are to accept such a simple fact. Because we're so accustomed to individuality. I, me first. So if you see that, if you see that your consciousness is shared by all other human beings living in this marvelous earth, then your whole way of living changes. But we don't see that. You need argument, you need lots of persuasion, pressure, propaganda, which are also terribly useless. Because it's you that you have to see these things for yourself. So, can we, each of us, who are the rest of mankind, who are mankind, look at a very simple fact. Observe, see that the causation of fear is thought time. Then there is the very perception is action. And from that, you don't rely on anybody. The guru is like you. You understand? And the leader is, he may put on different robes and put on the jewels and all that. He just strip him of all that. He's just like you and me. But he has achieved greater power, and we also want greater power. Money, position, status. So could we look at all this, see it very clearly, and then that very perception ends all this rubbish. Then you're a free person.